Well, hello everyone. This is Arkangeist, and as you can see, the server is lagging the hell out.
다시는 잊지 않아도 달리 지금 알려줄게 How I feel 방법이 없어 달리 방법이 없어 달리
Well, that worked out. Anyway, hello. My name is Arkangeist, and I am currently in the capital of Iroquois, which is Wabanaki East, and we are here to discuss the 2019 April statistics. I can't zoom in on myself. Um, we're actually not going to be in game very long. We're going to head out into the Google Chrome browser and look at the questions and all the responses that I received. So yeah, let's go do that. Cool. So this is the survey that I think I started giving it out last week sometime. I think mid last week, probably around Wednesday or something. These are all the questions that I had. And in the survey, I promised that the players would not be disclosed, like the individual names and specific responses. I said also wouldn't be disclosed. So for that reason, you're not going to be seeing any data for the first two questions, just because it would expose who the person is. Because in that sort of situation, you want confidentiality so people can just say their piece and not feel judged about it. They all know that I know who they are, but I mean, I'm not going to judge anyone. This is for the betterment of Wabanaki. Alrighty, cool. So the questions that I asked were for your in-game name, your Discord name and number, town name, in-game nation, how actively do you play? Cool. So let's look at the data. All right, cool. Here we go. So this one wasn't very surprising because, as you all know, Little Mining, who ran for chief in Hoyana for the April term, has been doing pretty frequent countings of the populations of the different nations, and this pretty much looks like it. Comanche is a bit smaller than it usually is in that data, but overall, pretty much the same. So no surprise there. How actively do you play Terra Nova? I found this actually kind of surprising. Not too much, but kind of. I didn't think people would be as active as it shows here. It looks like as a nation, we're doing pretty well in terms of actually being in the game and proactive with the actual in-game activities. So that's what I felt about that. Another thing is that it also shows that we're not too bored of the game yet, which is good. We're fed up with staff. How actively do you check or participate in the Wabanaki Discord? This wasn't any surprise, but I also don't like this question just because this question isn't very representative of Wabanaki as a whole. According to another Wabanaki, only 22% of Wabanaki is actually in the Wabanaki Discord, which is kind of a problem because I distributed this through the Discord. So of course, it's going to be leaning to the right because everyone who took the survey is on the Discord and was checking the Discord at the time to see the survey. So don't like this question just because it doesn't really show how Wabanaki truly is as a whole. I know the most involved players would be in the Discord, but there are 78% of players who aren't in the Discord, and is probably would change this data a little bit. So that's my thoughts on that. When are you most active throughout the week? This is how the Google Forms made the graph, and I don't like it for a couple reasons. One of it is that it isn't adapted for the time zones that people are in, because we have people in, majority of people are in Eastern Standard Time Zone, but we have people in Mountain Time, Pacific, and somebody who's in New Zealand. So you have to take into consideration of the differences in time. And so when someone says they're most active from evening 6 p.m. to 12 a.m., well, what does that mean for somebody who's in the Pacific Standard Time, like at a different time for them? So what I actually ended up doing was making two new charts. So the first one on top is the actual, I modified the entries that people put. So like the data that they put in, I changed it according to their time zone. And what I basically did was since I broke it down into four categories throughout the 24-hour day, and since they're in 6 hour increments, if someone was in, say, in California, for example, which is 3 hours away, and since three is half of six, I would have added a 0.5, which is a half, to both morning and to midday, because since most people are in Eastern Standard Time, and that's what this is shown in, um, if someone put down they are available in midday while being in California, what have happened here is they got a half in midday and a half in morning, because to them, yeah, I think I'm saying this right. Let's say 6 p.m. Let's say 6 p.m. like the evening. If they put down evening while in California, what actually is in the East Coast is 9 p.m. What is that? 3 a.m. 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. I believe. And so half of that would have gone to evening, half of that would have gone to nocturnal, because it's only covering 3 hours of the range that I specified. And then on the bottom one, which is the most useful, I feel like, in order to use the sample to represent the rest of Wabanaki, I use percentages, and so the most active time it looks like is, no surprise here, is Saturday nights, between 6 and 12 a.m. 81%, which is the highest, are most likely to be active. And the lowest looks like it's Tuesday and Wednesday mornings from 6 a.m. to 12 p.m. I don't per se like this, just because I don't like the increments and how like strict they are. I wish there was a more fluid way of demonstrating time, but that's what I had to work with. And then, like I said, the majority of people in Wabanaki are in the Eastern Standard Time Zone. So thinking back on this, I really should have just said, "What languages do you speak?" And then none should have been just English, but here we are now. Um, and no surprise there, just because the the main and probably only language in the Wabanaki Discord and in Wabanaki is English, and also this survey was written in English, so of course you're gonna put down English. So the next, I actually added another chart, is just if besides English, what language do you speak? Um, and the biggest one looks like is Spanish, followed by German and French, who are tied. How long have you been in the nation? So for those of you who don't know, Wabanaki has actually been around for, I don't know if it's 2 or 3 years at this point, but before Terra Nova, there was Earth MC Classic, and that at the time it was known as Canada. So for those of us who have been here since Canada, we've been here either 6 months or a year, or a year plus. Um, and so actually, this is pretty cool, because I thought it was going to be more of the purple, but it's a good amount of diversity, which is pretty awesome. There definitely is a split between older and newer players, who've been here at least 6 months, or at most 3 months. So there's definitely a divide there, but really interesting data. How long have you been playing Minecraft? This kind of surprised me, just because of, like, I thought I knew. So the peak of Minecraft, and the usage of Minecraft, was in 2013. So it makes sense that there's a lot of people from that era, because 5+ years ago was 2014 and past. But I thought there would have been at least a few people who were newer, but of course everybody's been playing at least a year and they know what they're doing, and yeah, that kind of surprised me. But I wasn't surprised about that. There's a lot of the older players, but didn't think there would be no new players. So yeah, there's that. This question, I felt like, kind of got a little misinterpreted. The long answer questions in general kind of got a little misinterpreted, but overall, there was a common denominator amongst a lot of people, which is that what people are striving to do in Terra Nova and in Wabanaki is to be part of the community and to grow the community, which I thought was so awesome. Then followed by that is construction. And specifically, when people say construction, they either mention infrastructure, trade, or something related to the economy. So, which is the pink right here. But the third was unity, which is different from community, because people wanted to bring together the nation, rather than just like talk about the cultural aspects, which is what community more talked about. And if you have any questions about the breakdown of this, just let me know. Do you support the idea of taxation to fund the nation? This was kind of my personal question, but I felt like it was such a basic question that all types of government kind of have to face at some point. And so I just kind of wanted to see where Wabanaki stood on this, and it looks like we are a majority no at this point. This one, it was a weirdly worded question, but I got a good answer out of it. So most people, it looks like they get their gold just through vote gold. With a quarter of people, they have a fair amount of wealth, and then there's a few people who have a high amount of wealth. So that's a good representative. If we're trying to talk about GDP and the economy within the nation, this is something that we should keep in mind. This question had a lot of different themes to it, so I think I should have maybe reworded it and had this broken down a little bit further. But a couple of notes is that where it says some experience, high experience, no experience, moderate experience, those should all say political experience, because that's what I was kind of referring to when I'm talking about experience. And so keeping that in mind, it looks like almost half of Wabanaki does not have political experience, but the other half has either some or more. And then when it says active, that also should say politically active. Either they're like pursuing a position, they have been consistently in government, things like that. How has the government performed this past month? It looks like people felt in the middle about it. Only 2 people put them all the way at the end, but nobody put them at 5, which was the highest. So it looks like we're kind of in the middle. So hopefully going forward, we can keep this in mind that we definitely do have a ways to go in improving our nation. The themes of the positives of Wabanaki, I'll just call also the positives of Wabanaki. So most people said, maybe not most, but the plurality of people who had something nice to say about Wabanaki, it had to do with the community, which is no surprise. I think a lot of people know that the community in Wabanaki is pretty good. We all kind of look out for each other and aren't too toxic, I would say. Following that was the government, and third of that was the economy. Fourth was the ability to teleport, and then a couple of people were kind of ambiguous in their answer. Trolls. The negatives of Wabanaki, this was kind of hard to do just because I felt like people were holding back a bit, so I might have like overanalyzed this a bit. But one thing to note is that the highest this chart goes is 6 people. So, and these categories aren't mutually exclusive. Like somebody could have talked about corruption and the government at the same time, but it's represented as 2 different things here. So just keep that in mind, as well as 4 people said that there was nothing negative about Wabanaki. So it looks a little bad, but it's not too bad. Now, this question I was really happy to get answers to, just because it's really important to know where your source of new people are coming from. And once again, the biggest one was community. People were coming here and probably staying here because of the community. Following that, we have a lot of people from Canada from the former server, so it's good things, and people are sticking around from that as well. Following that was happenstance, and happenstance versus invited. The distinction is that happenstance is more of like you want to be in a nation, you're looking for a nation, and Canada was either like your only option or just kind of was there and you're like, okay, I'll join this one. Invited is more so that like you might have had options, and you could have gone with different places, but you were kind of invited by Wabanaki. They kind of reached out to you, and you accepted their invitation from there. Oh, and that's the last one. Awesome, cool. So yeah, that was the 2019 April statistics. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. Definitely good information and useful for us to know what to do and how to handle our nation. If you have any feedback, comments, or you would like to help for the next census, please let me know. I don't know how often I'll do it, honestly, if ever again. I would like to do it again to improve on the last attempt. But if I were to do it again, it would probably be in like 3 to 6 months. So not very frequently, as you know, the actual census in the United States is every 10 years. So we'll see, but thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any other thoughts and analysis of the data, please let me know, either in Discord or even in the comments down below. I can't believe I just said that. I'm a YouTuber. Think fact. Anyway, thank you for watching. I'll see you later, and bye.